Hello and welcome to another episode of Schnozzcast. This is Bob, joined by my fantastical co-hosts, Nick Bader, Corey Selesky, and a special guest tonight, once again, Greg Gumtow. Tonight, what do we have for you? We're going to have a little booze news, a little bit of gentleman's agreement, perhaps an existential question, and we'll maybe try to think about a pick of the week. This is all very vague, but we'll know more as we go along. So, Greg.
Yes.
Thank you for coming. Thanks for joining again. It's been a while.
It's
been a scant few months since we've had you in the room.
Yes, it has.
Happy to have you back. So, Nick, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing excellent. Corey, how are you?
Oh, hey.
Man, it's been a while. I know you've kind of been through hell and back to get here with us tonight, so appreciate it, buddy. It wouldn't be the same without you.
I do what I can.
I will say, just kind of watch out because those tins, we're just finding them everywhere. So you got to make sure that the tins end up in the garbage. Okay?
That's something I got to worry about, Bob. So you worry about your own fucking shit.
Yeah, well, that's easy for you to say, but this is not our house. This is Nick's domicile where he lives and sleeps and eats.
Oh, keep that in mind.
Excellent, sir. Appreciate it. So if you're new to the podcast this week, you can find us out here each and every week out on the streaming services such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, Audible, or anywhere where you can get a podcast. You can also find us on social media, out on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, all at Schnozzcast. You can email us at schnozzcast@gmail.com, or you can call or text us anytime, day or night, no matter what the reason or the time of the hour, at 618-SHOCKER.
On the Shocker line, open and ready to take your calls and texts.
That is such an inviting. If I was out there listening, I would immediately send you one.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
I think you're a fool. A fool and a communist if you would never send a text to the Shocker line.
I'm surprised it's not just going crazy right now. It baffles me.
It could be on silent.
It might be, yeah.
It might be in another room. I'm not really sure. I
No,
can't
it's right
see
here.
it. Okay. Well, moving on then. Greg, you've got you're at the end of a major golfing season.
Yes.
Right? How did it go?
It was good. Golfed a lot.
Nick, this is not necessarily sports. This is interest in our special guest.
Sure. No, I get that.
Okay. So, overall good season?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Okay, where did you golf?
Everywhere I could.
Where is the coolest place that you golfed?
Ooh, probably Shepherd's Hollow.
Where is that?
Over in Clarkston.
Clarkston?
It's very weird, right? So you drive out to Clarkston. It's down Telegraph area. It's kind of busy, kind of mainstreamy. Kind of make a turn off somewhere, go down a few streets. Next thing you know, you're in the middle of the woods, and you're like, what is going on? And they carve this beautiful golf course out.
Really?
It's gorgeous.
And so people know about it. They just don't understand how remote it is, or is it like a best kept secret kind of a thing?
I don't know if I'd call it a best kept secret, but it gives you that up north feel, like that up north golf. Mm-hmm. Not so far away.
Really? Okay.
Sorry, it's about an hour from here. So
did you, as a result, did you play well, or you were more like, oh man, I'm just happy to be here at this crazy awesome golf course?
A little of both. I mean, I played okay it's a tough course. Like it was, the greens are a little faster than what you might see, when I go out the weekends with the buddies and stuff like that. But overall, it wasn't too bad. I played okay and kind of got paired up with some people. They don't mess around. It's like, oh, there's only two of you? Yeah. You're paired up with them. Go.
Right.
So
how many times a week would you say you went this summer?
At least 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you in a league at all, or just like you had? Okay.
I play Wednesdays.
Wednesday league, and then another night during the week just for buddies.
Usually Saturday, and a lot of times Sunday as well. So
okay,
2 to 3 times a week.
How often did Katie get to come out with you?
So her golf league is on Tuesday, and then we went out and usually played on Sunday and occasionally on Saturday.
Okay.
Not every Sunday, but several.
I think, Corey, the last time that I golfed, I was with you. It was quite a while ago, but we got to get out there with Greg.
I'm good whenever you are.
I'm in.
I think it's, we would love to.
It'll be a good time.
So if Shepherd's Hollow is really that good, I'm not sure that that's where I'd want to start after not
Probably
having played
not.
golf for 2 years.
It's also rather expensive as far as golf goes. So because of COVID, the only thing to do when COVID came out was golf.
Yeah.
So all these courses got flooded with people. So now trying to find a tee time actually becomes very difficult because they fill up quick.
But COVID is really not as a concern overall in general. But the prices and the availability.
Yeah, because everybody started everybody started golfing. So courses that we were paying, so pre-COVID, so 2019, we were paying $20 and $25 to play, are now $45 and $50.
Wow.
I think Shepherd's Hollow. I think if you want to go play there on the weekend, it's going to run about $140. I would say
per man.
Yes.
For 18.
Yes.
Holy smokes! It better be a nice course for 140.
Yeah. Katie and I did a little golf trip to 3 different courses in the Troy, Clarkston area.
Okay.
We were going to go out to Vegas, but flights to Vegas were around $800 a ticket for round trip.
Jeez.
I
remember when you could get those for like $125.
Yeah. Right. So we decided not to go out to there, and we're like, well, let's just do this little golf trip. So we just went an hour away and stayed at a hotel.
Right.
Had the whole up north golf trip experience without having the crappy drive home.
Yeah.
Because it's the worst part about a golf trip. You drive 4 or 5 hours, you go to a place, you play golf, then you drive 4 hours back home, and you're just like, I just want to be home. But
well, we are Nick's drinking what? Labatt's? Yep. Labatt Blue. I've got Purple Haze, and we're doing the leftover shots from my Alma trip, starting off with McGillicuddy's apple pie, and then we'll break out the Fireball once that's done, which shouldn't be too long. We have 2 shots here. So before we do this real quick, Greg, you are drinking Blue Light. And
I have Blue Lights and some Blantons.
Okay. So the Blantons you were telling us before the show.
Yeah.
Tough to get.
It is. So we went out last week on Friday, went shopping, went to Sam's Club, did the whole 9, spent way too much money there.
Tip your, hold that story 1 second. Tip your glass here. Nick's going to yell at me because he's going to get warm. Cheers. Corey, you don't want one? All right, well.
I don't think he's having one today.
Yeah.
All right, I chewing in my mouth. Sorry.
All right. All right. So Blands, you're looking at did you say Costco?
So we went to Sam's Club.
Sam's Club.
Did some shopping there, grabbed some stuff for last week for Katie's birthday. We decided to stop at the liquor store, and I was trying to find something. I think it's called Eagle Rare. I'm not a whiskey person or bourbon person. Like I'm a Scotch person.
Let's assume you're right.
Yep. So sure, my story.
Eagle Rare.
It is. Yes, Eagle Rare. That's what it is. So we go to the liquor store, and I asked the lady behind the counter. She's like, "Yeah, it's we should have some." And she starts looking, and she goes, "Well, yeah, usually over there." So she points up, and I'm like, yeah, like it was like right there. I was like, did not see it. She goes, so I saw the bottle of Blanton's there, and I was like, oh, I haven't seen one of those out and about in a long time.
Right.
Mind you, the last one I bought was right around $75 or $80. And yeah, this one was significantly more. And it was one of those things where there was people behind me, and I said, oh yeah, I'm going to take that bottle. So as we're ringing up all the beer for the next day and all the other stuff that we bought, I saw the price there, and I was like, well, that's not too bad for everything. Then she starts ringing up everything else.
Oh, you thought she already had?
Yeah. I thought it was done. And I had that oh shit moment.
Yeah.
And I panicked, and I was like, just swipe the card. Just swipe the card.
Before I change my mind.
Yeah. So I now have a bottle of Blanton's, which I found out Michigan doesn't control the liquor. They just have a minimum price.
Right.
Other places like Ohio, it's like, okay, the most you can sell it for is this. So it has to be sold for this.
Yeah.
So apparently Michigan doesn't do that. And yeah.
I have one of those I was telling you before, I have one of those in my cupboard that Todd Dillon brought when he was in town for a wedding, I think. And he swung by my house. We were hanging out for the afternoon. And I think it got it just about down to where yours is, like right at the top of that band. And he left, and I'm like, he's walking out, and I'm like, here, man, you forgot he's like, no, keep it. I'm like, dude, I am not a big Blanton's guy. Like I'd have to get used to drinking this. It's not like, oh, Scotch. I'm familiar with Scotch. I would absolutely take that's a great gift. Thank you so much. I'm like, you should probably take this. He's like, I'm getting on a plane. This isn't going to go on the plane with me. Just keep it, enjoy it, and if it's still here when I get back, then we'll drink it again. And that was probably almost 2 years ago, and it is still probably maybe in the middle of the band.
So that's me. I know Scotch. I like Scotch, and I know Scotch prices.
Yeah.
Like, so if I go somewhere and I see something on the shelf, I'm like, oh, it's a little too high. I can go get it somewhere else for cheaper.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen a bottle of this on a shelf in, a year and a half, 2 years.
I'm telling you that I literally got carryout from Lapita the other day, and they had a bottle of Blanton's right by the cash register.
And I'm sure they wanted way too much money for it.
I don't know what they wanted for it.
Yeah.
But they were selling it at Lapita at a
food place?
Mediterranean restaurant. Yes.
Sounds
so
like
I don't
somebody
know how
knows somebody.
in demand it is. Yeah. And I know I've seen it at a store sometime in the past couple of months.
So when you can find it in like Ohio or somewhere in that area.
I will never be in Ohio.
I usually don't. So
I hate Ohio.
It's like $65 or $70. That's what it sells for.
Okay.
It is double and sometimes triple that around here.
I guess I could go. Maybe we should take a road trip to Toledo.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Toledo.
Or just get some small
Get some
batch.
Tony Pacos while we're down there.
Small batch Basil Hayden's.
Well, that's the thing. Most people who do enjoy bourbon say that it's overpriced even at its normal price, which
yeah,
I know, like I said, I do Scotch, but I don't really do this. So now I have this. I'm kind of just drinking this just to.
So how is it?
It's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
it's all right.
I've had better.
Yeah.
When it comes to bourbon, I have not had better because I was just like legit.
That was kind of like a whiskey dick orgasm right there. like we were really building up to something. It just didn't happen.
Oops, sorry. I mean,
it's okay. How was that blowjob? It was okay, baby.
It's all right.
It's all right. I've had better.
Ain't gonna happen tonight.
I did want to mention real quick before we get into the news that so I was not able to be here last episode. I was out at Alma. I was enjoying time with friends that I really only get to see like once a year at homecoming. But while I was there, but I did also have to mix the episode from when Nick and Corey and Todd were doing the podcast when I wasn't here. So I had a couple of points to make, having had to listen to it.
And we do have some Elma questions on behalf of the of the podcast and the only person that was here during that episode.
Yeah.
We do have some questions.
I was one of my points I think was gonna be that. So why don't you start with that, and that may take one of my questions away.
Okay, so some of our questions that we talked about, and I'm not sure what was on air and what was off air, but our questions that we had discussed about Bob going to Elma, I had a lot of questions myself. We were trying to figure them out. We had Todd there, who was a frat brother with Bob at Elma.
Yep, pledge with me.
So that was really insightful. But we got to get it from the horse's mouth.
Sure.
So, first question.
Todd's definitely been there before. I don't know if he's been to homecoming there in a number of years, but go ahead.
Yeah, one, I said, oh, dude.
Didn't mean to elbow Corey.
I'm good.
Sorry, buddy.
So, one was where do you go? Is it like homecoming week?
Okay.
Is it like...
So
tell me about it. What is the occasion?
So it's a general. I mean, if you've been to a college homecoming game,
So it is a homecoming. Yeah,
it's the homecoming football game. And if you've been to that, if you've ever been to the homecoming game, where if you went to college at your own school, then you have a bit of insight into what they do campus wise to celebrate homecoming.
It's a huge party.
Well, it depends on who you hang out with. So. For the college and the city, it's definitely a huge weekend because this is a small town. Alma, if you're not familiar with Michigan, if you know where Michigan State is in Lansing, we're just going to say right here. It is approximately 30 minutes north of Lansing, about 15 minutes south of Central Michigan University. So it's right. I go as though I'm going to Michigan State, and then I take a hard right, and I just keep going north for another 30 minutes.
See, that was a mistake. You should just go right to State.
I spent a lot of time at Michigan State,
it
being
too.
so close when I was there. but due to various, ill-conceived schemes, I didn't spend a lot of time there my last 2 years.
Summer nights.
Yeah. So the college does all of their restaurants and bars are open for business. They're all expecting like massive amounts of alumni to come there and spend their money, which they do. Alumni, there's a bunch of alumni that come in motorhomes, and
are you serious?
They camp out. Yeah, absolutely. And they come because they're alumni of Alma. Now, these alumni may be former fraternity alumni or sorority alumni at the college. They may be, just people who went there who were GDIs and didn't go Greek at all, or maybe they were in the band, or maybe they played football but didn't go Greek. They will continue. They have a very, very robust alumni contingent that comes back every year, and they try to foster a lot of alumni events. So they do, because Alma is the nickname is the Scots. They have a tartan pattern to the flag, and they have a kilty band. They have when they do a parade down Main Street, and all the frats and the sororities build floats, and they go down the parade. It's literally just like Animal House, and then the kilty band plays, and they have bagpipers, and it's a big deal. Basically anybody who is 60 plus is going to that parade.
60 plus.
Yeah. Yeah. All the old timers go to the parade. All the parents of the students go to the parade. But generally, if you pledged a fraternity or were in a sorority, you're not going to the parade.
Bob's like, generally, it's us young guys.
Yeah, generally speaking. Yeah, and I would put myself. So I did listen to that part of the podcast last time about, what? Hey,
I know I get a couple looks when I go to the parade because I'm a little too young for it.
Are people like, what's this fucking old timer doing up here watching our football game or shit like that? Like I said before, there's a lot of alumni that come to watch the game, and there's only the north end of the end zone where it's like an open field. It's essentially the softball field, and the track could feel like the shot put area where you could set up tents, and we do, and grills and coolers and stereos and tables and all sorts of food and drink, and you got to get there early to grab your spot and set up your tent. So I see a lot of alumni there, a lot of people that, and I haven't been to the frat house in a number of years, mostly because the number of people who are pledging in that fraternity that kind of had the same values as when Todd and I were going there have kind of long gone. So it used to be when we were active in the fraternity, not my freshman year, but every year after that, where I was not pledging, but I was an active member of the fraternity. On homecoming weekend, if you weren't playing in the game, your job was to keep the house tip-top shape and make sure that you were there to meet and greet the alumni and the parents whose kids were in the fraternity, and welcome them in and offer them, crudités and whatever, and. When anytime, at any point of the year, whether it's homecoming weekend or not, if an alumni came into the frat house, you treated him like royalty. We just did. Because that they always came in with like a couple of cases of beer for the members, and they'd start like throwing beers left and right. And you're like, free beers? Like, what do you want? Like, tell me about the stories about when you pledged. Like, oh my God, I've heard so much about you. Like, oh, what's your pledge number, and all those things. As time went on after we graduated, that sort of deference to people who came before you grew dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, to the point where, like, the last time I think Todd was at that house, they like paid him no mind. Like, he walked in and no one gave a fuck who he was. No one asked him who he was. No one asked him what year he pledged. No one asked him if he was alumni, and he walked around and got like stony face silence from anybody who was there. And it was so radically different from when we were there that it really put him off. And probably, I don't think it put me off specifically at that time because I didn't have the same experience. But over the course of the next few years, I came to feel the same way. And so I'm like, the only thing that those guys really do for me now is that I think as Todd mentioned, we've burned down a couple of houses in the last 40 years. House burned down on Philadelphia Street, so we rented another house and
how have you guys burned houses down?
It's various electrical difficulties. I can't really get into it. And then this house burned down right after I left, and then not right after, but shortly thereafter.
So the house I was not involved. Is gone?
The house that we had when I was inactive there is gone. So they moved back to the same site, which was I don't think it was being used for anything at the time, or if it was not an official like college, and so they had a big fundraiser from all the alumni, and this was over the course of like a year and a half or more to raise money to build a brand new house on the original site for the first house that burned down, and that's where that site is today. So the only thing that only contact I really have with those guys these days is when I go up there and we stay at this motel that's kind of like on the edge of town. It's very quiet. It's the cleanest rooms in a motel in town. There's no Uber in Alma. So if we're going to go to the game and we're going to drink, or we're going to go to the bar and then we're going to drink, you don't want to get back in your car then and drive back, because you will be pulled over and you will go to jail. And I've seen it happen to a couple of alumni in the last several years. So I stop in at the frat house and I start asking for the scroters, the junior members of the fraternity, start calling them over and go, hey, I don't know if you know me, but I went here, but this is when I graduated, this is my pledge number. Verify that. And I go, I need a driver. So we're willing to pay X amount of dollars for a drop-off pickup at the bar. You need to be on call. Here's my number. When I call you, I expect you to answer and come pick us up and drive us back. And these are college kids, so they're like, how much? Yep, I'll be there. Here's my number. And so we use the Scroder taxi service from the fraternity to get us back and forth. And that is the extent of my involvement, because I feel like the question was asked, like, how does Bob go to this fraternity? And they're like, oh, hey, old guy, whatever. But like, I really don't.
Because we were wondering, we're like,
other than just to get this taxi service, that's the only reason why.
He's like, oh, this is an every year thing, and oh, we're so proud. And Todd's like, listen, man. These motherfuckers, they don't want to fucking see this fucking old fuck coming in here, bothering them while they're trying to fucking be in their house, fucking doing their pledge shit, fucking doing their fraternity shit.
And I would argue that's the problem.
He's trying to fucking recapture his youth, fucking walking around this fucking house, and they're like, hey, old man, get the fuck out of the house, man. And so this is basically what Todd was
I would argue that is the problem, and that these motherfuckers don't understand that pretty soon, not very long from now, they're going to be those guys trying to recapture their youth. They're going to be married. They're going to have kids. They're going to have full-time jobs. And they're going to feel that oppression of, middle age setting in. And this is your time to go back, because everybody remembers whether it was your time in high school where you had a really, really awesome time and you were king shit on Turd Mountain, or you went to a college and like, those were the salad days. That's when I really felt I had the best time. Wherever it is, like you're going to romanticize that part of your life, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the part that you're going to want to, like, if you had a chance to go back and like spend time there, especially in a fraternity situation where, as far as we knew for decades, like when you come back, you were treated really well. Why wouldn't you go back there?
Yeah, right.
I mean, we treated it so.
You probably spent like all your college years just like thinking like
in deference to those
one day this will be me. That'll be amazing.
100%.
I'm gonna put in the time, and I'm gonna put in the work right now. Because when I come back, they're gonna
build
be
those relationships.
My ass.
Yes, 100%. And I can't blame Todd for being like, this is fucking disappointing.
He's like, man, I wouldn't be fucking caught dead in that fucking town at this time. that fucking, all these fucking old men setting up coolers, fucking, oh, fuck that. No, he's like,
yeah, we were instructed by the people who were, more senior than us in the fraternity, or those who had graduated in like the couple of years before we started there. Like, here are the guys that you want to know. because they're going to go there. They're going to show up middle of the week on a Tuesday in November for no reason. And they're going to walk in bearing pizzas and cases of beer. What are you going to do? Say, who the fuck are you? No, you're going to go like, I know you because I've seen your picture on the wall. I've heard stories about you. There are, tales of, shenanigans that involved you. Sit down, man. So good to meet you finally. And that's the kind of thing that everybody wants. And the whole point of joining a fraternity is to be part of this is really
a brotherhood.
A brotherhood in which you do pay your dues, but then you get to be that king shit on Turn Mountain at some point. So when you get there and you finally find out that you can't be king shit on Turn Mountain because all the turds that you stepped on to get to the top of that mountain they don't care about you. That's a bit of a mindfuck. It's a bit of a bitter pill to swallow.
That sucks, man. That would suck.
Watch this. Somebody's going to clip this out and use this for a anti-Greek.
No, but I mean,
this is why you never join a fraternity.
Yeah, I honestly think it's generational. It has nothing to do with you guys. I don't think you could have done anything different. I'm sure you guys try instill values and pass the torch as much as you possibly can.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's really not much you can fucking do. I mean, you can fucking lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink it. You know what I'm saying?
I hope Todd listens to this next week and has some rebuttal for me. Like, Todd, you should call me. Call me directly when you hear this because I know you're going to have some things to say. And we'll discuss it. But... yeah, that's so the thing that I wanted to point out from last week's. So we're going a full circle back to last week's episode where I wasn't there. Nick was telling a story about how he's not a sports guy, never has been,
right?
Probably never will be,
won't be.
And
his new job's going to get him to be a sports guy.
His new job, yeah. He was telling stories about his new job and his coworkers he somehow found. The one job in that field, in that company, happens to employ all sorts of people who live and breathe fantasy sports. Probably not just football, too, just so you know. And somebody, I think it was Todd, that said, hey, man, you want to get ahead of that company, you got to go along to get along. Like, I can help you out, and I'll give you a script with things that you can say, like just off the cuff at the water cooler. That will maybe make people rethink and go like, oh, that Nick Bader, we may be able to include him in our sports discussions.
No.
And I was thinking to myself while I was listening to it going, because Nick's response was obviously, I will never do that. I don't need your script. I have no interest in that. That would imply that people are going to then want to talk to me about sports, and I am not interested.
Even more. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was listening to this, and I was sitting there going, no, come on, Nick. Come on, Nick. You're not looking at this the right way. So this is my chance to say what I was like having a temper tantrum about when I was listening to the first time. Just to say, I know that you have no interest in sports. I know that this would be like pulling teeth for you to try to have this conversation. However, I don't
appreciate that reference.
I would say to you that this is no different than making an investment into your company to let them know that you're a team player. And if
with the sports reference,
it's unfortunate, but I stand by it. I will stand by that reference. You could draw a whole lot of parallel references to this, and I could bring up a number of different discussions. Just hanging out with you guys, with you and Corey specifically, and I'll even say Greg, since I've known Greg, there are things that come up in our conversations, just shooting the shit, things that you guys are interested in that I've not been a part of, the world of golf. That I've obviously played golf before, but I don't consider myself an avid golfer. Bowling, we've had many conversations about bowling. I do not bowl. I don't work for you. I could have blown off that conversation. But I know it's important to you, and I'm like, oh, this is an opportunity for me to learn a little bit more about bowling. You and I have talked about hunting before. We've talked about cooking a lot, and you know I can't fucking cook.
But you like to cook.
I like to cook simple things that I feel like I can cook without fucking it up.
I like to cook
that
simple
amount
things.
of things is very small.
I like to cook simple things that also require me to buy $300 pans. So if I ever want to cook that simple thing again in my life, I will have it.
Which $300 pan are you talking about?
You are always
talking about the
you're always like, oh my god,
the cassoulet that I made.
You're like, I think I should buy this, this La Crusade cassoulet dish.
No.
And I'm like, what the fuck
first of all,
is
the cassoulet bowl that I bought was nowhere near as expensive as a La Crusade.
Yeah, but don't you have special cooking pans that are specifically only for like one or two things?
No, just the cassoulet. That's the only thing that I bought that is specific to. I mean, it's specific to the cassoulet. You can make other stuff in it, but I bought it specifically to make this cassoulet, which I have made one time. So I'm not discounting what you're saying, but that is the only thing that I. But my point is.
But you've had conversations with me where you've kind of got excited about, hey, do you think I should buy this cooking vessel?
And you realize while I'm talking about it that he should not buy that vessel because he doesn't know how to make what he's talking about making. Like, I can't wait to see what happens. But I feel like it's going to be a shit show.
It's like nuts for winter with Bob. He likes to know, like, if I were to ever make this specialized dish again, I got something for it. This is made just
first of
for
all,
this.
What hooked me into this thing? We're really going far afield here. This started off with but okay, the cassoulet that I made. It's French, and anybody knows me as I'm a sucker for all things French. And so I started looking at this thing and going like, ooh, that sounds really good.
Ooh la la.
But they also have a website for a lady who posted her recipes for the thing that she made. She's like, oh, I also make the specific, and there's a reason why they use these particular bowls. The way that they are angled, the way that they hold the heat for, and the cassoulet is a dish in which no one really wants to fucking hear this, but you continually spoon, you crack the crust on the top and then you spoon it over again, and it continues to form crust like over and over and over again, which you have to keep on cracking. It's part of, and it just kind of like builds down into the dish, and the bowl facilitates that. And the bowl looks sexy as fuck, so I'm like, I need to buy that bowl.
I need that in my life.
Yeah, like I am willing to, right. But I've never bought a La Crusade. I mean, any of the, what's the other brand name that you and I both have?
All Clad?
No, not the All Clad. I can't think of it right now.
What is it?
Well, they're colored specific dishes.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? I can't think of the brand name. It's not.
It's like
say.
Yeah, I'll think.
Maybe
about
it is. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We've had conversations about that. I don't even know if I would make that a parallel. The point I'm trying to make, Nick, is you can look at it as though it was just a topic that you don't know anything about, that other people do, and that if they thought that you had any interest at all, which your interest can be not necessarily to be part of the fantasy league and talk football with them about it all day, but just to let them know that you're a go-along, get-along guy, because I've worked at companies like that where there are in-groups and out-groups. And if you're not part of the in-group, then it's an unfortunate set of affairs, but you're going to have a hard time getting that leg up over some guy who doesn't work as hard as you, but he's in the in-group with the fantasy guys. And that sucks. It's a shit deal to draw.
Here's what you do, Nick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sunday night, hop on ESPN.
He had better than that. He had Todd offering to tell him what to say.
Yeah, just one quick little thing. Be like, hey, can't believe so-and-so went off for that many points. And then just walk away. Don't say anything else. Just walk away.
You don't understand.
That's easy to say, but it would never work.
No, because all my friends are in fantasy football, and I'll do that. I don't watch football.
See, this is
I don't play fantasy football. I did it once.
Look, I'm not trying to get you. I want to be very clear about this. I don't care whether you like football or not. I know you don't, and it doesn't bother me. It has nothing to do with our friendship, and I won't ever make you feel bad about it, nor will I lord it over you and say it's awesome, and I can't believe you're such an idiot and you don't like football. This is just unfortunately. This is a little
backhanded.
No. This is just unfortunately a thing that you do because you know that you work hard at the job that you've got. You've been there for a little while, and I'm sure are wowing folks with the effort you're putting forward. And this is one of those social things that, it just is a unfortunate fact of life that could possibly be, used as something that, it's not a check mark you could put in the Nick Bader column. And that really sucks. And I'm trying to think of a way for you to even just have a passing interest in going like, yeah, I don't really watch football, but yeah, tell me what's going on in this game the other night.
Just tell them you're a college football fan, and they'll leave you alone. They're like, oh, okay, well, I understand that. They won't bother you with fantasy football talk. They might talk a little football here and there.
You know what you could even do? You could tell them you're an English football fan. You're
tell me
true
like
soccer guy.
Sport, like,
you're like,
I like rugby.
Yeah, teach me all about this. What
like
you guys
rugby.
call football. But there's a way to do it where I'm like, oh man, I was listening to the episode and I was thinking to myself like this might be a missed opportunity, and I know it to fully immerse yourself would be no fun because you'd end up in a bunch of football discussions.
I already am.
But
they happen all around me all day long.
That's what I was thinking too. Like you're already in those discussions. You might as well use them for your advantage.
It's a disease that's growing because look at now how long you've talked about. I'm getting anxiety and upset about how much we're talking about right now.
We can stop.
Let alone at work.
This was not to make you feel anxious.
I get where you're coming from, and I
just
appreciate
like, how can I help Nick?
And if I ever want to appeal to your infinite wisdom, I will ask you about that.
All right, that's fair.
And I get that maybe I'll miss some promotional opportunities because I hate football. And I'm okay with that. So at this point in time, I'm okay.
You can do what I do with my friends because they know now to just ignore me. But I'll be like, that was a terrible pick, guy. Shouldn't have picked him. And just leave it at that.
Do you understand?
And they know you're just busting their balls because they Greg
but some people don't know that. So they're like,
to give you the levity of the situation, we have one kid that and they're all like this, so I can't even single one person out, but this just blew me away. He walked in the door. Before saying good morning to anyone, he started talking about football. Like literally, the door wasn't shut behind him, and he's like, "I can't believe! Did you see what happened? Did you pick him last night for your team? Did you pick him?" And he like beelined it to someone's desk, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" He's like, "Hey, good morning." I'm like, literally, I don't know if I've heard anything out of his mouth that's not football related. I honestly don't. And to me, that's upsetting because I get that a lot of people like sports, but to the effect that you're nothing without it tells me that it's like a personality flaw. Like if you can't socialize at all without being able to relate to someone with sports, like that's a problem. Like your life should not be surrounded by one thing all the time. I mean, that's just that's slightly insane to me.
Do they play as like an office? Are they all in do they have like an office league?
Oh, I'm sure, dude. Even like all of our managers, all our bosses are in it.
Yeah, because like I have like you could always just suggest stupid. Thank you. You could always just suggest stupid. I guess for the team that loses and comes in last place has to do something stupid. I mean, I've seen guys have to go get like tattoos. Oh, you're the came in last place. You got to go get a tattoo. There's one guy I saw that his group, they went golfing. He had to golf in like a skirt.
Yeah.
I mean, just
to give you an idea, they at least I'll say like every 40 minutes, if not every 30 minutes at work, the whole bullpen will clear out. They'll go into an adjoining office, which has windows and stuff, and it's relatively open architecture-wise, so you can see. It's not like they're closing doors or anything like that. And they are throwing chairs, and they are yelling. They are seriously, like, things are banging into the walls, and I can see, and they're like, "Oh, I can't believe you!" I mean, they're yelling and screaming. They have like a 5.5 foot tall trophy that they just had made, which they love. They all have mini helmets on their fucking desks that are signed by all these fucking. It's out of control. It is out of control.
It depends on how much money they got into it too. Like ours was everybody threw in $100, but you get 10, 12 guys. So it pays $700-800 at the end. So I get the being upset. And I know some leagues are $500-600 to get into. I've seen some that are $1,000. So I can see where somebody gets upset, but then at the same time, like, I don't play.
Yeah,
I don't care. Like I said, I
never have either. By the way,
I watched 2 quarters of the Lions this past week. That's the most football I've watched all year. And I just do that to
hopefully
watch
it was the
them
first
lose.
two.
No, it was the last 2. I like watching them lose because I love.
You must be the happiest motherfucker alive then. Because
you know what? I just like making fun of Lions fans because they're so delusional, and I find it hilarious. So that's all.
This is the most extracurricular conversation about football I've had all year. So thank you guys for that.
You're welcome.
It's awful.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to do a shot here. If you are listening to us out there and you've got something to pour yourself, some sort of libation or drink or even just a coffee, join us. Cheers. Woo-wee. Maybe we should do a little booze news.
Yeah.
And now it's time for booze news.
Since you're walking away, I'll go first. So I did want to mention this for sure because it caught my eye. I did not know that there was in Rochester, New York, there is a National Toy Hall of Fame. They have every year they've had finalists for induction into this Hall of Fame since 1998. And just to give you an idea of who they inducted last year, there were 3 inductees. It was number 1 was the American Girl doll. Number 2 was Risk. And number 3 was Sand.
Okay.
That's right. Sand.
I'm assuming the Pet Rock is in there too.
They don't make it easy to look at like an alphabetized list of everything that's been there. You kind of have to go by year, but I wanted to kind of go through and give you guys a chance. If you had to guess who was in the list of finalists for 2022 for that class.
And it's for what?
It's the National Toy Hall of Fame.
I didn't even know there was a thing.
Neither did I, which is why I brought it up. So I'm going to give you each 3 guesses. If you can guess one of these things.
One of the toys.
What if we
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 finalists for the class of 2022. I'll give you 3 guesses. If you can get one of the finalists, I think that'd be amazing.
I feel like I'm going to guess something, but it's already in there.
I'm not even worried about that. You just have to guess 3 guesses to guess one thing that is in the list of finalists for 2022.
So I don't have kids or fraternize with kids.
But you've played with toys. Sorry, you've played toys.
I've played toys, not in 35 years, not like in 2022.
Well, think about some of the these aren't toys that were
American
from
Girl
2022.
Doll is relatively new. Risk is old.
You could take
and Sand is old. So it's all over the board here.
Let's just approach it that way.
Sand,
Greg, in your opinion, what are the 3 top toys that you would nominate to the National Toy Hall of Fame?
I mean, Risk would be on there as far as games go. I don't know if I'd consider it a toy, but
okay, well, pick something else because I know
Transformers would be one of the things.
That's a great pick.
I feel like that's already in there though.
It may in fact be. But so Transformers is 1.
G.I. Joes, because it was something that I played with as a kid.
Right.
I'm trying to think of something that's not
like an action figure.
Well, not just an action figure, but something that maybe I played with. Maybe
like a board game.
Something different. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Maybe like Operation. But I feel like those 3
game too.
I feel like those 3 are probably already in.
You would think.
Well, I have not looked through the list of the inductees before 2021. So you may be right. Nick, what are if you had to name 3 toys that you would nominate to be in this Hall of Fame? Forget about are they in there or are they in there? We don't know.
I would say Matchbox Cars.
Great pick.
I would say Play-Doh. Ooh. And I would say Legos.
Legos, yeah, I gotta imagine.
Legos. All those are already probably in there. Those are all
probably. Well, okay, so let me read you off the list of finalists here, and
is Magic the Gathering on there?
Not in this. Okay,
did anyone in this room ever do that? Honestly, by the way,
what play Magic?
I did.
I did my freshman and sophomore year of high school.
Did you?
And I really wish I still had the cards. because apparently they're worth a decent amount of money because they're first editions.
Yeah.
Has anyone?
Yeah.
Did anyone here play
Dungeons and
D&D?
Dragons?
Yeah.
No, I never have.
I've never played either.
I knew guys who did, for sure.
Did you ever play Pogs? Did you ever?
Oh, yeah. I had
I
a
did
ton
that.
of those.
I never did.
Got my new slammer in.
Yeah.
All right, the list of the class of 22 finalists are Bingo, which
I figured that would be already in there too.
Yeah.
But-
Bingo's old.
well, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't the age of the game doesn't necessarily. You think about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They're still inducting bands that were
like in the 70s.
yeah.
Yeah, I know that, but they're not like. I'm putting like that on the same stage as, let's say, like a Leonard Skinner, or they're like a very, very well known thing.
Right.
I mean, yeah,
It's not gonna
Play-Doh's been around since what, the 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Legos have been around for a very, very long time.
What was the shit that you used to be able to like press against like a newspaper? And it would
Silly
come up?
putty.
Yeah, silly putty, yeah.
I bet that's okay. So the finalists are Bingo, Briar Horses.
The fuck is that?
I don't know what that is.
Those are like little play horses that my cousins had those. That's
Okay.
Greg,
So I do know
there's no
what that
need for
is.
an explanation.
I'm looking at him asking for one. Catan, which
it's
I've never
it's a
played.
board
but
game.
I own the game. I've never ever played
It
it.
sucks. Only because I played with some friends, and my one friend, his wife always wins. She always wins.
Mahjong.
That's a great game.
Light Bright, which I did have when I was a
Light
kid.
Bright.
Nerf Toys, which basically means like anything Nerf. Masters of the Universe.
I was going to say He-Man, but I'm like,
it
it's in
has
there.
to be in
Yeah.
there.
But you don't know. That's the thing. That's
Yeah.
just look at the list of finalists. I'm like, well, I don't know what the fuck's in there already. You think Lego should be in there? I don't know what their ground rules are for inducting people. The public is invited to vote, and the 3 toys that get the most public votes make up a single player's choice ballot. But that choice gets counted alongside those turned in by a national selection committee, whose members include industry experts, academics, and others. So there's only one popular vote of the 3 that get in. The other 2 are industry insiders.
I would think that Ninja Turtles would be
Yeah.
before Masters of the Universe, just because Masters of the Universe were a very specific cut out of time, and that was it. There's no more like He-Man figures, and people are still playing with it. But Ninja Turtles, they're still kind of revamping that, and they're still trying to introduce that to newer kids.
Well, they just had some stuff on Netflix. Kevin Smith
made
it was a really good little like animated.
I've heard some people say it's really, really good, and people say it's really, really awful. I've never watched
animated
it, so
what?
I
You
can't
guys
say.
didn't finish your sentence. Kevin Smith just did it.
a
Oh,
new-
it was really, really good.
A reboot of the Masters of the Universe.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Or was it just He-Man? Was it full Masters of the Universe that he did?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so round it out. So after Masters of the Universe, Pinata,
What?
which I'm not sure was a
I don't know if that's a
toy,
toy.
but apparently it is. Something called Phase 10.
That's a game.
Really? Okay. Pound Puppies.
I remember those.
I remember my pound puppy.
This is why I wanted to talk about this, because like somebody had a fucking Pound Puppy.
I did.
I had one.
I don't know who it was. Racco. Is that another word for like ring toss or something? Or the ladder game? I don't know what Racco is.
Let me switch to Google here.
All right. While you're doing that, Spirograph.
Oh, I loved that.
I felt like I didn't quite enjoy it as much as my sisters did. They really loved the Spirograph.
I liked drawing and crayons and coloring and all that crap. So putting the piece of paper in the little thing, and then
Yep.
that was cool.
And then at the end you had a piece of paper, and that was you're like, man, I can't wait to play with this piece of paper.
No, for me,
I
it was,
needed something tangible, like
I had a lot of
action figure.
I had a shit
I had
ton of
zero
action
imagination.
figures. I had shit ton of.
So Racco, it's a card game.
My aunt,
card game.
Yeah.
my aunt used to say, she's like, I'm so glad that you turned into the young man that you did. She's like, I really enjoy like being around you. Like we can laugh together. You're funny. Like I can relate to you. She's like, when you were younger, I really thought you were going to be a recluse. And I'm like, wow, thank you. And she's like,
You just up sitting in the dark room looking at your spirograph papers.
She's like, you always used to sit in your room. And I'm like, because I had an amazing imagination and I had a lot of toys and I didn't need other people. I'm like, so she's like, but you would just be coloring or
look at these spirograph drawings.
Playing with Ninja Turtles.
You're my only friend.
Playing with Ninja Turtles. She's like, I honestly, she's like, I'm not trying to be funny. She's like, I used to tell your parents, like,
I'm seriously concerned about that boy.
Yeah, I think he's going to be like reclusive. Sure, she would say a recluse. I'm like, thank you.
Would you say that you're not
a recluse?
Yeah.
No. I'm very
gregarious and engaging.
As Lori so eloquently put it. I'm an extroverted introvert.
That is a non-answer to a non-answerable question.
It's kind of like I told my chiropractor, I am the most laziest active person you'll ever meet in your life.
That's such a bullshit.
I wish you had those honeyed words when your honey fucking said it at the time. Because
yeah, I wish
at the time he was like, "You're right, sweetie. He is. So are you."
Yeah.
And now he's like, "That's the dumbest thing I've ever fucking heard." That's the Bob Rankin I know, ladies and gentlemen.
Look, the podcast just brings it out of me. I don't know what to say. And the last finalist here is the top.
The spinning top?
Yeah, the top is probably as old as civilization.
Oh, it's been around for a very long
time. Don't you think?
Yeah.
So the fact that the top didn't make it in from 1998 until now.
Bob, think about the dreidel.
Well, think about the top, though, is most people who played with that aren't alive anymore.
What's that?
Wait, what?
People who played with the top, most of them aren't alive anymore.
What are you talking about?
They had different versions.
I know they had. I'm just saying that people who really played with it.
What do you mean really played with it?
That's all you had back then.
You
mean the wheel was just invented.
You mean
the
now
wheel
here's
and the top, and that's it. That's all you had.
I love how making very, very intricate geometrical patterns and shapes that I could make with a pen that I could never make with anything else but this little platform was not amazing, but taking a piece of plastic and spinning it, Bob was like, "That's my shit, man. That's my fucking shit.
That's my jam.
While you got that piece of paper to show for it, I can spin this all day long. Let me go outside so I can kick my can."
Don't touch that can.
Don't you besmirch can kicking.
Well,
somebody clip that out.
Family Guy's like, we used to play Woolly Ball and Scary Shoe. It was like all these different things that
we used to stare at this. Play a game called Stare at the Sun.
Old Johnny, he won. He can't see no more, but he won.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the only one I really wanted to make sure I went through. We may actually save the rest for next episode.
So that brings me to a question. But so were you anticipating that what we had talked about earlier on the pre-podcast meeting?
Oh, the production meeting?
Yeah, the production meeting.
Yeah.
Were you anticipating that was booze news? Or is that just talking points?
So yeah, literally just talking points.
Okay. Because you were like, "Oh, I brought up booze news," and Nick walked away, and we never talked.
I was just giving you bullshit.
Oh, okay.
I was just giving you shit about that. Only because I said booze news, and then you like literally got up and left. So I'm like, he would never not say something if I did that.
Yeah.
So I just had to. No, but so yeah, this is really not germane to anything here, especially to Greg, because Greg doesn't give a fuck. But yeah, we're talking about maybe shaking some shit up on the podcast. And then after having a midweek production meeting, now we've got 2 of 4 members out today. So my thought was, all that shit we talked about, that ain't happening this week. Like we're just gonna get through the show and make sure we put a good show together. There you go, Corey. And then
I'm good.
And then we're gonna worry about like revamping shit later when we've got a time to talk about it. It's not just like the Nick and Bob and Greg show. So yeah, if that answers your question.
But quality right now, though.
Quality, not specific. Corey is a huge fan of, like things are different. Like 2 of the 4 members are out. Somebody's sick. This is a great time to introduce a brand new camera. Why don't we do something we've never done before and never talked about, never prepared, never practiced. Let's do it. Just drop of a hat. Things are going to go great. And they never, ever do. Right, Corey? Exactly.
No, just so you guys know, I know I'm not talking a lot on this show, but I did have oral surgery, which the guys know about. So I am in a little bit of pain, but I'm happy to be on the show and just listen.
Dude, you went through hell and back to get here. We appreciate it. You're looking good, a little bit thinner, but you know what? Now is the time. Go through that diet, drop those pounds. Your newly betrothed is going to be so happy to see you come back in the door, svelte, lean and mean.
He's got to get a new wedding ring. Just fell right off of him.
No, I think he bought one of those special rings that just shrinks to your finger size.
Oh. Well, Greg, when you can only fucking eat liquid foods, you tend to drop the pounds. So I have it in my pocket, but that's another story. And let's do the shot.
All right. Raise your glass. Corey, you can wait
Cheers.
as long as you want.
Greg, can you give that to him? He's in a little bit of pain, so.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
From the lips to the hips.
It's liquid, man, so at least you can have it.
All right. We've got two agreement reviews to give, so I think we can get to those fairly quickly. So let's jump into that.
Gentlemen's agreement.
I'm gonna let the whole thing play.
Agreement.
Don't worry.
Agreement.
Yeah, so you haven't been here since April, so this is brand new.
Gentlemen's agreement. Gentlemen's agreement. Oh, gentlemen's agreement. Oh, it's the motherfucking gentlemen's agreement. Agreement. Oh,
I love watching people's faces as they hear it. And it's like the reaction is always the same. You guys are idiots.
Someone has too much time on their hands.
That took me, I think, 13 minutes, and it was one take, and I said, yeah, that's it.
Worth it.
That's what we're going.
Worth
That's
it.
what we're going with.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to send it to the guys, and if they hate it, we're not using it.
I'm gonna go first.
I'll give first.
We're only doing two, you and me. So I had to watch Untold Operation Flagrant Foul from Corey. Thank you, Corey. This was so Untold is a series on Netflix. There's a whole bunch of them. I didn't know how many there were. I'd never watched any of them. I've heard other people getting assigned them, but this one was very specific. I'm gonna do the spoiler free and very quickly. It's a 45-minute documentary. Well, let's say it's like an hour and 15 minutes, actually. This one is specifically about the scandal that made public news, so this shouldn't really be a spoiler, but there was a scandal in the NBA where a high-ranking NBA referee was accused of and drawn into an FBI investigation for gambling and betting on the games that he was actually refereeing. And I had heard about this in the news, but I didn't really know much about it. I hadn't really followed the story. I knew the guy's name only because his name became like a bad word in the NBA. Donaghy, I think was his name. Sorry. I don't know. Maybe that's
Donahue.
a spoiler. Donaghy.
Did you say Donahue?
Donahue.
I just watched it, Greg.
Donahue?
I'm telling you, it's Donaghy.
Just trying to,
I was
Try
like,
to
throw him
test
off
my
a little
knowledge.
bit. Yeah,
Are you
just wanna
sure it
make sure
wasn't? Are you sure it wasn't
make sure
Donahue?
you watched it. That's
Oh,
all.
man.
I don't think you watched it, Bob.
during the week, I love to sit at home with a nice snifter of brandy
Of
and watch reruns of Donahue.
I didn't honestly know that either of you guys would know who Troy Donahue was. And I feel like you're nervous laughing now because you actually don't know who that is.
No, I don't know who that is.
Exactly.
Unless that's the first name of the guy on the talk show.
No. Okay, so the whole thing is about, it's actually very, very well done. I plan on watching more of the Untolds. Well, sorry, I take that back. I did plan on watching more of them, but then I thought about it to myself, and I'm like, I'm just gonna get fucking assigned these by Corey. I might as well just wait, and then I'm gonna get my wish. So I will say I liked it a lot. I'm gonna give it a B, a solid B, because they actually interviewed. It wasn't based on serial murderers, they interviewed the people that were actually involved, including the investigator and the guy who got accused of betting on the games, of flipping the games, and they also used actual footage from the games that he had refereed, which in my mind, that's the number one. Like, then you can be your own judge, right? You can see the footage, you can see the call he made, you can see the play, and you can say, like, what the fuck, man? There's no way. That's not traveling. So I liked it a lot. Solid pick, solid B. Well done.
All right. Okay, so for my assignment, I had Dazed and Confused. Yeah.
You actually had two things. Did you watch both of these?
No, because after the conversation, so I would typically watch them either Thursday night or Friday.
Yeah, this is the last time you did it. When I wasn't here, Todd assigned you this other thing. So, okay,
I would watch,
doing this one.
I would watch either Thursday or Friday.
Right.
And after our production meeting, I'm like,
yeah.
I don't even know if we're going to be doing this based on what we talked about. So,
well, hold on. I know this. We're in the middle of a podcast, but let's be clear. Since 3 of the 4 of us are here,
that's true.
Let's be clear. Somebody raised the point, and this was a good point. Like, hey, look, we're already doing like 2.
It was me.
It was not Corey. We're already doing 2 episodes each weekend on normal weekends. This is not a normal weekend.
Well, there goes the fourth wall.
We're all about breaking the fourth wall here. We like to make that connection between you, the viewer / listener, and the producers /
If you haven't
host of
figured
the
out,
show.
we're not wearing the same clothes every week.
Yeah, my God. No, I literally have behind this brick wall. I have like a rack of clothes. It's like a Donahue show back here.
Yeah.
So no, to be fair, we said, look, we're. It's not as easy as it looks, buddy, is it? It's still looking for that drop.
I don't know where you have it stored.
Well, look, you did this episode last week on your own, so.
To be fair.
Jack that shit all the way to the top. Wow, I'm gonna have to.
I love jacking it to the top.
Now I'm gonna. Now I'm gonna have to. Don't fucking touch me. No, if we're sitting here doing a gentleman's agreement, and then we're doing another episode that we're going to bank on a Saturday, so we're in 2 1-hour episodes on a Saturday, then we're already doing at least we're already on like a every other week schedule, right? So every other week we are going to do gentleman's agreement. What we talked about though was keeping the reviews down to a minimum.
Yeah.
Right. Spoiler free, no spoilers.
But something you brought up, you didn't even do.
What's that? Like a grading system?
Yeah.
Well, we hadn't talked about this. It was just like that's a great idea.
My point exactly.
But and this is why this is not the episode that we're going to roll out these new changes.
Oh, we're not. Okay.
No, fuck no. Because
you,
no one
you
agreed
were pretty,
on it.
You were pretty succinct though in your review.
I said I was giving it a B. That was my call.
No, you were succinct in the sense that you're very short with your review, which I thought it
I'm
did
trying to
resonate a little bit. I'm sorry. I figured you knew what succinct meant.
I'm trying to get ready for the changes.
Okay. All right. So we talked about, we had some feedback, and I get it. I completely understand it. I love gentlemen's agreement. It may not seem that way because recently I don't watch my movies as often as I should. But people that know me should know that I just don't watch movies. It's not something that I do. I am forcefully doing it because of the show, and I enjoy it. And I've been the first person to stand on top of the hill and say, like, listen, it's one of those things where I build it up too much in my head, but once I do it, like, I enjoy it.
Yep.
And I'm glad, and I'm so appreciative of the show for that, because it's just building my knowledge, and I'm understanding a lot more inside jokes on different shows that I watch.
Really?
Oh, God, yeah.
That's a great side benefit.
Oh my God, there's so many.
I almost said side piece.
Just from watching Days, Dazed and Confused, there are inside jokes from that I'm now understanding. I'm like, oh, okay.
Like, well, that makes sense now.
I'm super happy about that. That's really amazing.
Of course, there's music, different music that goes along with different shows I've had to watch. That I'm like, oh my God, that they had that music in Friends. Now I understand. Chandler told this joke about blah, 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 blah. It's from this fucking movie. Now I get that, And so going right into it, I was assigned Dazed and Confused. I was also assigned another movie. I watched it. I thought it was really good. Not going to spoil it like we talked about, but there were, the coolest thing I thought was there were a lot of, I'm not sure if it took place, was it filmed in the 80s, I'm assuming?
It was filmed in the 90s.
Was it really?
Early 90s, but it was set in
the
1976.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about it was that, it must have been super early 90s because I
93.
I recognized.
Thank you, sir.
I recognized there was an actor from Friends in Dazed and Confused.
Yes.
And I just kept seeing all these different faces that I'm like, I know that face. Like, and I was looking them up, and then I felt like a moron because I kept trying to look at these 60-year-old versions of these people, and I'm like, wait, who is this? Or let me see, was this character? I didn't know. And then guess what? I didn't realize because I was too lazy to come downstairs and put the disc in.
It all comes down to how lazy
that I rented it and laid in my room and watched it.
Wait.
That's okay.
Hold on.
I know you dropped it off, but you gave it to me.
No, I'm giving it to you.
I know, you gave it to me.
But you
which is good.
Paid to rent it?
It was $3.99. And so I rented it, and I knew that if I hated it, I would take it on the chin because that's my own fault because I have it downstairs.
Yeah.
But that was a personal call. And then I pressed pause and realized that I could pause it at any point, and it would show me all the actors that were currently on the screen because it was from fucking Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like,
Amazon's great about that. Yeah.
Fucking moron that I'm sitting here trying to figure out who these actors are.
You could also pull up IMDb and look up
that's true.
Any of those actors.
And I also didn't realize that a lot of these actors who either these chicks that I would recognize their voice, or I'd be like, oh my God, she's super hot. Who is she now? And I'd be like, looking her up, and I'd be like,
yeah.
Yes, they aged well. No, they did not. And but yeah, there were a lot of familiar faces. But at the end of the day, I definitely enjoyed it. I don't know. I feel like I want to watch it when I'm not forced to watch it, on my own regard. I want to watch it. I want to.
The good news is now you can do that because I know that movie is yours now, buddy.
And I understood that. I want to watch it. Where I was trying to see what is the point to this movie? Is it just a party movie? What is what are we getting towards? And I finally got on board a little bit more than halfway through. Mm-hmm. But I do want to watch it on a bigger screen, whether it be projector, outside, having a campfire, whatever it may be, some good speakers, some drinks, maybe some THC vape. I think that would be amazing to watch that.
I know a place.
But laying in my room. I
think you're talking to the right people here.
Laying in my room in the middle of the afternoon under the influence of nothing. I feel like I would appreciate
watching
it.
The old Philco.
It's I need to be a little high, maybe a little drunk to watch this.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, I would give it a B.
I'll take
Solid.
And the only reason I would give it a B is because it's a little dated, but that's the only reason.
Well, it's a slice of life movie from that's how it was back in high school in 1976.
But I thought it was pretty cool.
Texas.
I was enamored the whole movie. I was trying to figure out who some of these chicks were. I'm like, what the fuck? Who is this?
You know what? Everything that we talked about in that production meeting midweek, now I'm second guessing because I'm realizing that this is what I love about this segment, and I don't give a fuck if people don't like it. The fact that you now understand the origin of the all right, which you had no idea what it was until you watch this movie, and the fact that you look, the director Richard Linklater brought together all these young actors. It was Ben Affleck's first
Yeah, I forgot he was
headlining role. It was Matthew McConaughey's first starring role. All those actors, Mila Jovovich from Resident Evil.
There was one chick, I forget. Her voice sounds so... I know she's been in shit. She's like a really high, like cartoony kind of voice. Like
Yes.
Joey Lauren Adams.
Joey Lauren Adams, who dated Kevin Smith once upon a time, and she was in Chasing Amy.
Yep.
I know I've seen her in shit. Yeah.
Oh, she's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of up and coming actors in that movie that went on to, like, that was their first role. This was a very big, like, you could point to maybe half a dozen movies, right, Greg, that had casts of young actors who all turned out to be stars.
Yep.
This was absolutely one of them. And so I don't give a I'm really gonna rethink this. Like, if we're gonna have another production meeting midweek next week, I'm gonna have a lot to say, because I now don't give a fuck what anybody says about this segment. That gives me so much joy that it makes it totally worth it to me. Why are we doing this podcast if I'm not doing it to because I love doing it? I love that part. The fact that he watched that movie, he never would have watched that movie if I hadn't decided to him. And it's not because he doesn't have good taste. It's just he doesn't watch movies.
And I will say, yeah, that's very true. The actor that looked like a very young Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh, Jeremy London? Jason London?
No. That was the person.
The quarterback. Pink, the quarterback?
No, he played one of the main characters. The young one, the freshman. The long hair. He looked.
Oh, yeah.
He looked very much like a very young Joseph Gordon-Levitt with long hair.
Because of the long hair, he looked like Joseph Gordon-Levitt when he was in Third Rock from the Sun.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I was looking through all the actors, he did not age well.
Adam Goldberg.
No, not Adam Goldberg. This kid played.
What did he play?
Wiley? No.
He was also like a very main character.
He was the young kid in the movie.
He was the epitome of the freshman.
Yes.
Like,
he was the you know, every movie has that person who's supposed to be like the Greek chorus. Like, he's standing in. He's the one who stands in there for the audience. You see the movie through his eyes. He doesn't understand what's going on. He's in every scene. He's experiencing every. Wiley Wiggins.
Yep.
Yes.
But look it.
Yeah. Okay. So he doesn't look the same. I mean,
Look at Greg.
he doesn't look the same.
No,
that's all right.
Didn't age very well.
That's all right.
Looking great.
Yeah, Renee Zellweger in it too.
That's a tough, dude.
I feel like the rest of the cast, though,
imagine if all of us had to be held to account with a picture of us today versus how we
from
were
when we were like
19,
16. Yeah,
16.
exactly.
Jesus Christ. I would look like a troll compared to my 16-year-old self.
But that's
I feel
unfortunately
like all of us
the way
that's
the movie industry
is.
is.
That's the hand
man.
you're dealt. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
That's what you have to deal with. But other than that, I think it was super cool, and it kind of comes full circle for me talking about your college days. Because
this was well before my college days.
No. I'm saying like them being on the field, them being in a college town, them going to, talking about high school, talking about going to college, like all the things they're having, the parties, the keggers, and all that shit like that. Like it kind of comes full circle, so it's super cool. Yeah,
it was a small town. They knew where. If you said party at the Moon Tower, they all knew where the Moon Tower was, all of them. Dude, I'm going to tell you what. If we change Gentleman's Agreement, I'm willing to do it less frequently and maybe do it like every other week or every third week.
We're already doing it every other week.
No, that's what I'm saying. But the content of it, the if I can't have this back and forth with my good friend who I know hasn't seen this movie, and I'm really, really excited to hear what he thinks about it, even if he hated it. And I took a chance. Like, I didn't know that he would like this at all because it's not in his wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. I was totally prepared for. I'm okay if he didn't like it. But the fact that he did, like, I want to hear what he liked about it. I want to hear what he didn't like.
I totally get like both ends of the spectrum on this. Like, it was something brought to the table that I would have never thought about, which is it's such a great thing that you guys are doing. You guys are so passionate, especially Bob, so passionate about movies and cinema. And we're trying to pass that torch and pass information on to different people like myself. And I'm doing it because of the show. Mm-hmm. but maybe we might spark someone else to be like, maybe I'll give that a watch. You know, that's never something I would have watched. But
movies
they
like
just
that
don't-
are classics.
Yeah.
They're timeless movies. Yeah, it's a little dated, but I think
But it speaks
most
to the
people
high
can,
school experience.
I was going to say most people can relate to the story, even though it is set in the 70s. It was filmed in the 90s. I'm sure kids today would still watch that and be like, okay, I can see that. I can relate to that, but they wouldn't know what that movie is.
Yeah.
And that movie's almost 30 years old now.
But the other side of the coin for me is we're self-contradictory because like we're literally like completely spoiling these movies, and it's like, how are we supposed to give these recommendations of how great these movies are when we're like talking for 40 minutes typically? Like tonight we're kind of dancing around things a little bit. You know, we're walking on eggshells.
Yeah, it shouldn't be 40 minutes.
No, but there's a lot of times
review,
you guys
it should be like 5.
I was gonna say 5 minutes would be-
you and Corey, or Todd and Corey, can go back and forth almost to the effect that you guys are.
So have you. We
are, like,
let's
quoting
let's
it.
be clear.
I mean,
we
yeah.
have all done it.
I'm just saying from a passion level.
From a passion,
I can
from
talk a
passion
lot.
level, we've all done it.
I can talk a lot.
All
I
of us
can.
have.
I get it. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
We all have done it.
So if the agreement is that we're going to keep it to spoiler free, and we're going to keep it to 5 minutes tops.
But do you know what
then
I mean?
I'm totally fine with that.
Does that make sense though?
But
Like-
if you say spoiler free, like I love that movie, then I want to. And we talk about the all right. I don't know that that's a spoiler,
That's not.
and that's a nugget of information that made my night. And for me not to be able to get that, I'm not interested in doing the podcast if I can't get that.
No, I totally agree.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
Greg, do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Corey doesn't have much to say tonight, but Greg, I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
We've had this conversations over movies and we bonded over that.
Yes.
I don't necessarily need to hear you break it down. And if we are trying to keep it spoiler free, look, I made the point during the meeting that apart from true crime podcasts, some of the most popular podcasts on the internet are those in which they talk about movies. They review them. They talk about them. Now, they may say this is a spoiler-free review or this is a spoiler-filled review. However we do it, talking about movies is not something that, look, some people don't like it, but generally speaking, most people love it.
I do like talking about movies. I have this new thing now, especially with the Marvel movies. I don't watch any trailers. I don't watch anything. I don't read anything about it. I don't want to know anything. I just want to go in surprised.
Right.
However, I think if you did the review, kind of like with Gentleman's Agreement, it's one of my favorite things you guys do.
Thank you,
because
sir.
I like movies. So
Right.
I personally don't care if there's spoilers in something like this because I'm going to watch it anyways.
Right.
I think you could do, you have Dazed and Confused. I give it this grade. I give it, this is what I liked about it. I said, now here's my spoiler. Someone's listening to the podcast, they can then fast forward through like, hey, this is going to be spoiler free, or hey, I'm going to give a few spoilers. There's also got to be some sort of statutes of limitations when it comes to spoilers.
Oh, totally.
But,
yeah.
I mean,
if it's like Die Hard, I'm not going to worry about spoiling Die Hard.
Yeah.
It was in 1986,
Late 80s.
88.
Yeah, it was like 88, 89-ish.
Yeah, I'm not going to be worried about spoiling a movie that is over 25 years old.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to give it a grade and I've not given you a reason why I gave that grade, then that doesn't make any sense.
I would go grade. Like, okay, I really like this movie. I give it a B+.
Why?
Spoiler, here we go.
And we do that.
Can you do that without a spoiler, though?
I think it's hard to describe a movie without...
To say why you liked it?
Yeah, without a
spoiling
spoiler, because like there's certain movies that have twists at the end, like, oh, there was this massive twist, but I don't want to tell you what it is. Like, now I'm going to watch a movie and be like, okay,
Here comes the twist.
Where's the twist?
Yeah, right. I mean, that's
Type
fair.
of thing.
So if we say rule number 1 is no spoilers, and rule number 2 is as long as you can do no spoilers, see if you can give a reason why you're giving it the grade.
Yeah.
Or saying why you liked it.
I still, even if you did say spoiler, people, like I said, people could fast forward through it.
That's what I
and
feel
move.
too. It's 2022. If you don't understand the internet to the point where if I say spoilers ahead, go ahead and fast forward if you don't want to hear. That should be enough. If you don't understand that, I can't help that.
Yeah.
We've so there's a few things. So we've always said spoiler alert. We always do that with the show if we're going to talk about something. I completely agree that you cannot give a review on a movie and just say how much you loved it without at least telling a little bit about the movie. That may spoil. So if you understand that, and this is not your favorite segment, you can skip ahead. I listen to Drew and Mike all the fucking time, and as you guys probably intimately know now, I do not like sports, and anytime that they're they get too enamored with sports, I just fucking skip ahead 2-3 minutes. It's not that big of a deal. I do it. The point is that, you know, people like Bob and all of us really at some certain point are very passionate about different things, and movies is one of them. We all have a movie that we're passionate about, or several. It's like music, and I feel like it's like sports to certain people. It's something you're passionate about, and you want to share that with people, and you're excited about it. And in order to do that, you're going to talk about it. And we do get carried away sometimes, and I will agree that we should be cutting things down a little bit, which is fine. But I love the reaction of seeing one of my best friends have a reaction that's positive towards introducing me to something new.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he's living vicariously through something he enjoys, and he's like, oh, my God, I didn't know if you're going to like it or not. That's so cool. And I've had that feeling with other people and with my friends with other things, and you can't put a price on that. And I think that's part of what we do. And now inadvertently, we are literally, as far as the audience is concerned, doing Gentleman's Agreement every other week. And I think that's a big step. We're cutting it in half by 50% already. So if that's not something, guess what? Next week, you're not going to even have to deal with it. You're not going to have to listen to it if that's not something you like. Like I said, I listen to Drew and Mike. They talk about sports all the time. I don't stop listening to the podcast. But I fast forward to the parts I don't want to hear, and that's it. And they do a daily show. So I don't think it's something we should stop. I don't think we should stop giving spoilers. I think we can continue to say spoiler alert. I think in regards to the actual review, we become a little bit shorter, but fuck the rest, because it's our show.
I would implore you, if you're watching us on YouTube or if you're listening to us on any platform, we've been through a number of times how you can reach out to us. You can call or text us at 618-SHOCKER. You can email us at schnozzcast@gmail.com. If you can't spell Schnozzcast or can't remember, it's SCHNOZZ cast, C-A-S-T. You can also comment on our podcast on whatever platform you're on. I'm sure there's a comments section or a review section where you can add something there. We're interested in what you think. We like doing this segment. What do you like about this segment? Is it something that you want to see continue? Give us your feedback, because it's really valuable to us in that way. Now,
I mean, we want to be inclusive, and we want to be sensitive to what the audience thinks, but to completely pander to the masses, I don't believe is something that we need to do.
I mean, not at the sacrifice of
hello,
my my neighbors.
Who's on the phone?
My neighbor's calling me.
Yeah, that's great.
Whom I saw at dinner last night.
I think you should have answered.
You know what? If it was on my phone that wasn't hooked up as a camera and it was hooked up to the mixer, I would have answered.
Hello, you're on the Schnozzcast.
All right, we're gonna do this shot, and then I got one more thing to hit before we end the episode. So, cheers.
Oh, I'm good. I don't need one.
Yeah, you know what, Corey, you didn't do the last one, so the hell with you. Greg, cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, before we bring it close to this episode, I have one question for Greg, and that is, Nick already has an assignment, a Gentleman's Agreement assignment from Todd Dillon from last week. Mm-hmm. He did his review of mine, which means he's only one behind, and he's got at least 1 week to watch that, if not maybe 2. I don't. So I want to take an assignment from you right now.
Okay.
So I can put on my list. What are you loving these days, movie or TV show wise, that I should check out?
Have you seen Meet the Gringo?
Meet the Gringo?
Yeah.
No, I have not. I have heard of it, but
Okay.
I've never seen it. Isn't that Mel Gibson?
Yes, it is.
It's on my list, dude. This is what I wanted.
Unfortunately, though,
Yeah.
according to the rules,
Yeah.
I watched what I was supposed to watch from you, which gives me the right to assign a movie to somebody.
I can watch too.
It also means that I could assign something else to you too, but I thought I'd rather not do that. You already have something on your plate.
You could.
I just knew
Or
that-
you could
I didn't
assign to
wanna-
Greg.
I didn't want to leave. Well, but Greg already has an
I
assignment
can
for me
watch
from
more.
back in
That's
April.
fine. I'll watch that. I have it now. I know what it is now.
But he
I can
potentially
watch
has
it.
5 months to do both.
That is true. I just didn't
Golf
want to.
season's over. I'll be
I didn't want to
cared
leave
for.
this episode without having anything to watch, and now I do. So not for nothing, but I feel okay with you already having something to watch,
Okay.
and I don't want to add anything else to that. But if you want me to give something,
No,
to
go
Greg,
ahead. Go ahead.
I have a list. And Greg actually, I feel like Greg's like, sweet, here's a movie that I can watch instead of that other fucking movie you assigned me in
I'll
April.
watch them both. That's fine.
You don't have to. Okay. So since we're talking about Wiley Wiggins, I'm going to assign you, assuming you haven't already seen it, Waking Life.
Waking Life?
Yes.
I don't think so. Let's see.
I believe. I'm not going to tell you anything more about it because you're going to look it up anyway. Yeah, see, in the notes I have 4:23, so I was like getting ready to type in like 4:30. But no, this is October 1st, 2022. Yeah.
Is it all animated?
It's not animated per se, but it looks like it is.
Okay.
But that's the one.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think you're going to like it. But again, as Nick said earlier, if you've got something that's of the gummy variety, it would definitely help. Definitely make that
I've been
movie
out of gummies for so long.
much
I need
more
some.
enjoyable. Much more enjoyable.
Not my thing, but, you know.
Not,
I'll still
it doesn't
watch
mean you're
it.
not. Yeah, I think you're going to really enjoy it.
You could have some snifters or something.
I'll have a snifter or two.
There you go.
Maybe 3.
All right, that's the podcast for the week. Thank you for joining. Catch us here next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourselves.